So, as folks may be aware, the foundation was founded by Emile and Natasha 8 years ago, right? And what has our focus always really been, and what have our priorities been? So, ideally, we wanted to help support fundamental research into first Cat6A, then Cat6B as well, right? And it's always been kind of research focused. We got a lot of feedback early on. Let's also support families directly, right? And so we've developed some of those programs for the empowered grants for communication and assistive devices, therapies, what have you, right? So the over the first couple years of the foundation, we diversified a little bit of what we were doing, some research, some direct family assistance, et cetera, and just the core construction of our processes as the foundation, communication, fundraising, the registry itself, hosting these annual conferences. All the while, we've been fundraising every year with all of your support, your direct donations, your outreach to friends and family, etc. So we finally hit a point this year with the foundation where we felt we had raised sufficient funding and accumulated enough funding that we could actually put out through the foundation itself an RFP, a request for proposals to the broader research community. Historically, we have again funded some studies directly from the foundation, but typically we had received from researchers almost unsolicited proposals to us saying, "Hey, I've got this great idea. Can you fund it?" We would cobble together the funds, fund that one study. That has been working. However, we finally felt like we had matured as an organization. We had raised sufficient funding that we could now solicit openly to the research community, "Hey, please send us your proposals for work you would like to do and you think would be most effective." So that was great. And that couldn't have happened again without all of your support. So we released an RFP at the end of last calendar year, and we got 11 different proposals back in by our submission deadline at the end of February. And out of those 11 proposals, based on, again, marrying evaluation of the proposals together with our foundation's budget, we've concluded the foundation itself can support 7 of those, the 7 what we felt were the most valuable proposed studies that we received. So thanks also to the science committee within our foundation that did a lot of work evaluating the proposals, and then working with our board to make the determinations of the proposals we'd support. So where we're at in the process right now is, again, we've made those decisions, we've communicated back out to the researchers who proposed, and now we're just in the kind of administrative phase of getting the funding and the actual contracts with those researchers executed so they can then go and conduct that work. Some of the studies proposed are 1 year, some are 2 years, some are 3 year. So it's going to be important, while we feel like we had sufficient funding in the foundation to launch those studies, there is an expectation, right, that we're going to need out year funding to be able to support the out years of those projects. So again, puts key emphasis on what you'll hear from Aimee next about our fundraising initiatives within the foundation. So thank you in advance for that. In terms of how we selected the studies that we wanted to support, again, we had a few criteria that guided us. One, we wanted to make sure both Cat6A and Cat6B disorders were represented and studied. We didn't want to just go one or the other, what have you. So some of the studies are just looking at one or the other, but then there's some studies that effectively are looking at either or both disorders as well. So that's really nice. And we had no idea what we were going to get back in. Maybe we'd get one proposal, maybe we'd get 20. But we did find we had a nice representation of approaches, Cat6A, Cat6B, et cetera. So we felt like we had an ability to select the ones we felt were most aligned with the near-term priorities. Some, again, you've seen since the 8 years our foundation's been in existence, right? Like, we started with nothing. Val's first paper just characterizing the Cat6A disorder. we had to do the most fundamental research initially just to even characterize the disorder itself. And now what we're seeing, we're kind of at that tipping point now where we're going from we still have to do ongoing fundamental level research at the molecular level, but now you're seeing our research community propose therapies or testing some compounds to be upregulating or downregulating the expressions of the gene, right? So I feel like we're at this tipping point now where we've got enough funding, we're supporting projects, we're starting to look at some sort of therapeutic avenues, we're seeing different approaches proposed by the different researchers you're hearing today. So it's very exciting. Interestingly, so 4 out of the 7 selected projects, 4 of the researchers out of those 7 are here today, have presented. They're all familiar to us, so that's very exciting. It will be a stipulation when we fund those 7 projects that they will be expected to attend the conference every year to present the progress of the work that we're supporting, and that their expenses will be supported by the foundation to make sure they can attend. So with that, let me Emile, if I hit, you think next slide should do it? Okay. Sorry, this is just a kind of an automated thing. So we'll move through the 7 real quick. I'm not going to voice track over them, and we're not going to go into much detail on them, but we'll put out like more public facing information about the projects once we get the contracts executed, and we'll post all that on our website. Okay. So thank you again to everybody again for all your work over the years that have enabled us to get to this point. Again, we'll post more information on our website about the various different projects that are supported. And thank you again for, as it may be necessary for sample contribution or use of existing samples that have already been collected. Thanks again for your participation in that way. Now let me bring up Aimee Reitzen for description of our various fundraising initiatives. And again, I hope I've impressed upon everybody that what Aimee's going to talk about is actually the driver and what allows all of this to happen. So again, thank you. And Aimee, please.
Hi, everyone. I know you're hungry. We're almost there. Awesome morning. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for helping. I just want to get a show of hands in here. Who has ever fundraised for the Cat 6 Foundation that's in this room? Thank you so much. Because of you, we're all here today. We can fund this conference and this amazing 7 new research initiatives that are coming forward, the patient registry, the IPSC biobank. So thank you, everyone, for your hard work. I'm going to be brief, I promise. Here's a slide I just wanted to share with you so you know who you're talking to when you get emails from the Cat 6 Foundation. Katie Bader is our Catwalk co-chair with myself. And Karen Ginsberg is the director of fundraising, and she helps lead our annual appeal each year. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it, and they're having a big case of FOMO right now. I wanted to share this slide with you because I think it's really important that you know what our donations are supporting. So as you can see, the bulk of our fundraising goes towards research. And in that category, includes, things like the biobank, the different research studies, and some researcher support that we have. We also see in there the conference that happens each year because of you. And I think it's amazing that our foundation is able to reimburse hotel rooms and things like that for people, that this is a free conference for you to attend as long as you can get yourself here. I don't think that many communities do that, so big hand to the board for approving that each year. We also fund empowered grants that go towards assistive equipment and therapies for our children. And this is an international initiative. It's not just supporting kids in the US. As we know, different states, different countries have different policies on what they will reimburse families. So these empowered grants help, with some of that cost. And as you can see, we have the patient registry, and then a small slice is some operating expenses that every foundation has: insurance, various things like that, flatware, software platforms, things like that. Okay, so each year we have two major fundraising events. There's the catwalk, and then there's the annual appeal. The catwalk is back this year for its 8th year, and we're really excited. Last year we raised $193,000. That is absolutely outstanding. And many of you here today have hosted teams either last year or in the past, and we're hoping that you will do it again. We have a few changes for this year's catwalk that I'm pretty excited about. So there's two formats in which you can do a catwalk. You can do an in-person event. That's when you actually book a location at a park or somewhere in your community. You need to be sure that you're going to have a decent attendance. This isn't for just one family. You want to have a big showing that day. So if this is something you would like to do, I know that we've had so many great catwalk hosts do this in the past that we're nervous. Are we going to get enough people to show up? Is it going to work out? Honestly, it always ends up being beautiful. If you live in a state with somebody nearby, you might think about linking up to host an event together. I did that for many years with another local family, and it, easily doubles your registrations. We have a catwalk toolkit that we can send out to you. I'm not going to go through every single bullet, but, we do a lot of things. The other option is to just create a virtual catwalk team. You can just fundraise online. Just send out some emails, put it on your social media. We've had so many successful teams as fundraising online. They didn't have to have a set date. Like I know Jordan usually does that. You just fundraise online, you share your page, and people in our community want to help. I know when my son was diagnosed, my friend said, "What can we do for you?" This is how they can help. They'll donate $50 and they feel good about it. It's, a night of takeout. Instead of that, it goes towards our foundation. This year for the catwalk, we have a new t-shirt design. We thought it was time to freshen it up. And what I really like about it is that we're going to be able to add your team city or team name. You can just let us know what you would prefer. This is for in-person walks only, because it's only cost effective if you for bulk printing to have a certain number of shirts sold. I'm not sure if you can scan this QR code from where you are, but if you're interested, this is not a commitment at all. You can sign up and we will reach out to you and help you decide if this is something that you would like to do, if it fits into your family's schedule. So our catwalks take place each September, and we hope that you will join us this year. Next, I'm going to talk about the annual appeal. The annual appeal was absolutely outstanding last year. We raised over $283,000. That literally blew our minds. We set a high goal and surpassed it. This annual appeal is entirely online. You don't have any of the work of hosting an actual event. So how people do annual appeals, the best strategy is to send personalized emails to your contacts. You can also post on social media and things like that, or pick up the phone and call them. It's really important for the annual appeal that you think about your contacts. Sometimes it's not a close friend or family member, but it might be an employer of somebody that you know that has deep pockets and they want some, year-end tax credits, and that helps them by making a donation to our foundation. We've had some anonymous donors in the past make really, really generous donations to our foundation. So we ask that you think about uh, people in your community that might help. And we know that it can be uncomfortable to solicit people for major donations. So that's what Karen Ginsburg will help you through. She could even reach out on your behalf. Um, we provide you with a whole toolkit of things with social media, fundraising letters, printable thank you notes. And then there's other ways that people can donate. Sometimes there's estate planning, donor advised funds, bequests, and stock options. And we have had people utilize those donation methods. Um, there are other ways that you can fundraise in our community outside of the catwalk and the annual appeal. And these are just ideas that families come up with on their own. I actually know Katie Bader, who isn't here right now, has a thing going on right now with a local pizzeria. They're donating a certain number of their sales on a weekend towards Cat 6. And it's really not much work on her behalf. She puts up a sign in the pizzeria. If you mention Cat 6 when you order that day, a percentage goes to it. So sometimes these smaller things can make a great impact when we add them all up. We've had families do 5K events. We've had people run marathons and they run under our name. Recently, a friend of ours did a golf tournament and he said, I'm going to put a QR code on one of the golf holes and let's see what happens. And I think we raised almost $3,000 through doing that. So you just never know. There's just like a lot of creativity and ways to do it. And another thing a lot of us do are Facebook birthday fundraisers, and those have been successful as well. I also wanted to share with you that this year we established a grant committee, and it's led by Lindsay Blanche, who I believe is here. I'm not sure if she's in the room right now, and Rachel Warden. And what they're doing is they're looking for funding by applying for actual grants. So that isn't something that we have to directly fundraise for and ask people for donations, but it's really important. I know that they secured a grant last year to help update our handbook and translate it into more languages. So that's a project that is going to be worked on through grant funding. And I'm always asked, how can people help out? Please reach out to us. You can let us know what skills you have, and we will find a way to implement you. Maybe you're really into graphic design. We could use your help. We have a father here today that you might be seeing going around with a video camera. Like, he's a video producer. We have so many people in our community with great skills, and we could utilize them in many ways. So please reach out to us if you can lend a hand. And one last thing I wanted to mention, some of you may have seen on the table, we have QR code stickers. If you could take a moment today and fill that in, it would be a great help to our committee. What this is, it has two purposes. One, there's a photo release form in there so that it gives us permission to just post any photos from this weekend. It's going to be hard for me to keep track of everybody's face in every photo. So if you really oppose your photo, please come and let me know and I can try to find you out. Your photos that we share will not have your name listed. So please know that. So on that QR code, there is a space for photo consent, but also on there, it's a communication list. And why this is important is we want to make sure you're getting information from the foundation that really applies to you. So if you're a researcher and you're interested in getting information from our foundation, you would only check off like the research category on this survey. So you don't have to get every little email that we send out. And I think that, a lot of us do communicate and share with each other through the support group. But if you're like me, I go on social media less and less these days. So getting an email, I'm more apt to remember and get back to it. So, please just take a moment to fill out that contact list. It would really help us so we can help support you. Thank you.
Two more things let me add. When Aimee mentioned the grant writing and the grant solicitation and the team out of place, again, help needed from you guys. If you're aware of private foundations or grant making organizations, our foundation will not be aware of all of them, right? So just if you think there is a foundation that could be relevant or interested in supporting the Cat6 research or initiatives, please just pass that information along to any of us, the general info, email, website, whatever, and we'll just think about this. And as you mentioned, Karen and I have a presentation already ready about history of the foundation, when we do everything. So if you, again, of a contact that you think could be your annual field donor, we are more than happy to just have you connect us with them, and we can give them an overview about everything we're about, right? So if you're just not comfortable saying, "Oh, this is all the things we're going to do," so on and so forth, like we can take that on under that. So thank you with that. And the last thing I want to say, well, two more things. One is I forgot to mention when I was talking about supporting research, right? Like we're all generally aware that at least in the U.S., right, there's initiatives, right, to reduce the amount or limit research funding through key organizations like NIH and what have you. So the ability for private organizations or nonprofits like ours to directly support research, that could only become more important over the next, several years, right? So again, just to put another emphasis on, like, if you ask all of the researchers who are presented today if they're nervous about their future funding, because a lot of the work you've seen has not been supported by the foundation, right? It's been supported by their ability to gain access to federal research funding. And if that gets reduced, curtailed, limited, only more important for us to try to step into the breach there and keep their important work going. So thank you. And lastly, before we turn it over to Emile, parents, if you haven't yet retrieved your children from the child care rooms for the upcoming group photo, can you please just go and bring them back in for the photo, as Emile is going to talk to us about the thing.
Hi, everyone. So I'll talk briefly about the registry before the photo. So we have the Cat6A, Cat6B patient registry, and it was launched in 2019. And it's hosted by National Organization of Rare Disease, which is NORD. It's a secure cloud-based platform, and it's compliant with US health information privacy laws and FDA regulations. Cat6B patients part of the registry since 2022. So the goals of the registry is to serve as a database to enhance understanding of the full range of Cat6 related disorders, disseminate information quickly and securely to researchers and clinicians, enable researchers to identify trends that can generate new insight and identify areas of additional study, guide the development of standard of care, and expedite the completion of Cat6 clinical trial. So as you can see here, there is data entry, and this will guide us the standard of care. It will guide to research and clinical trial feasibility and recruitment. Parents, patients, guardians, doctors, or caretakers can enter the information. There are currently 12 surveys under the Cat6A, Cat6B patient registry. 6 of the 12 surveys take 5 minutes or less to fill out. So survey detail in the Cat6A, Cat6B patient registry. We have getting started, diagnosis, birth and family history, neurological, immune system, other condition. So under getting started, it's the type of mutation, genetic report, date of birth, and the sex. Diagnosis is date of diagnosis, test performed, publication, participation history. Birth and family history, we have birth weight, head interference, fetal abnormalities, fertility treatment, medical issues at birth, family history. Neurological, we have seizure history, neuromuscular weakness, developmental and language milestone, neurodevelopmental condition, ADD, ADHD. Under immune system, we have allergies, vaccination, metabolic, mitochondrial abnormalities, autoimmune condition. And under other condition, we have heart, thyroid, digestive, respiratory, pulmonary, kidney, bladder issues, has hospitalization, sleep, vision, hearing issues, distinctive physical features. Medical history, it has the weight, height, vaccine record, doctor visit record, treatment, medication, surgery, therapies, physical, speech, and occupational research participation history, medical reports, we have genetic medical record upload, if any, socio-demographic information, country of residence, education, racial designation, pediatric quality of life, part 1, hearing, feeding, vision, mobility, communication, physical health, function. We have under pediatric quality of life, part 2, behavioral, anxiety, depression, peer relationship. So have the information below handy when you sit down to fill out the patient registry. It's medical record, MRI, EEG test, hospitalization, genetic diagnosis, upload document or write the diagnosis, any medication and supplement used, amount, usage, purpose of them, information on hospitalization, information on all the current health issues, information on current therapy programs. So current patient enrollment status in CAT6A, CAT6B patient registry, we have registered so far 502 respondents. So that means that we're officially aware of 502. So between CAT6A and CAT6B, that means the population of CAT6A, CAT6B is probably way more than this. So we have 1,304 consented and 224 who started the survey and 207 who completed the surveys. So 41% of patients who have enrolled in the registry have completed registry survey. The CAT6A gene mutation represents 71% of those 502, and the CAT6B is 29%. Patient registry data allows for analysis and identification of new trends. As you can see here, the percentage for respiratory condition, hypotonia, and different things. And common neurodevelopment conditions diagnosed by physician, auditory processing disorder, CP, sensory processing disorder, autism, apraxia, speech deficit, global development delay. As we can see, the last two are the highest on the percentage. 20% of patients have ADD, ADHD. 58% of patients have an infectious distinct laugh. And 59% have high pain tolerance. So please take your time to fill out the patient registry. And how to request access to the patient registry, you can email kat6aregistry@gmail.com. And the CAT6 Foundation will review requests from researcher for access to de-identified patient data. And we've done this. Like in 2024, already we had more than 5 different researchers who requested information, de-identified information from the registry. In agreement with the standards set by NORD and the Institutional Review Board, IRB. So future direction, publish registry data finding in a scientific journal, mortality review committee studying CAT6A and CAT6B patient mortality reports in depth, including autopsy reports to better understand manifestation of CAT6 disorder in the disease. And I'm sure you saw the poster at the front for the mortality. So thank you for this. And if you have any question about the registry, no.
Thanks, Emile. Yeah, the importance of that registry as the future treatment that identified is really going to kick in when eventually at some point there's the trials, right? And you need all that historical longitudinal data on the patient population. So thank you. Let me introduce David Woodbury very quick. We've got a